This morning, and we're here with Victoria Wells of Wells Works Construction, who's helped us out a little bit in the past. Good morning. And we're standing in just kind of a white box right now, but it's a white box with a shower, and we'll soon have a sink and toilet and all the wonderful amenities of a bathroom.
Absolutely.
But this is a remodel that has a little bit of a different take, and it's one we're seeing more often these days.
Absolutely. A lot of people are concerned about either they have some grandparents or their parents that might need to actually move in with them, and the bathrooms might have been too small. They're not ADA certified. They're not handicap accessible in any type of way. So we are changing this one around to be able to meet those needs.
All right, and we're going to talk a little bit about a few smaller things people can do a little bit later, but right now, and I'm not going to touch anything because the walls are wet, but just the bigger picture, when people are in an older home, what do they need to be taking into consideration before they start knocking out walls and taking on big projects?
One of the big things is, of course, load-bearing walls. This house was actually built in 1921, and so this house actually has plaster and lath and has traditional 2x6 walls instead of 2x4 walls. So we were standing right here. There was actually a load-bearing wall that actually supports the main area of the house. So a lot of people go in, they start hammering away at something, next thing they know, wow, the whole house is shifting. So we really got to be careful of those. Plaster and lath also is a particular type of material that's not like our typical drywall. It actually is a concrete that goes up against it and bleeds through on the other side, and that's how it holds to it. When you start cutting things down, you're going to see cracks and you're going to see things that pull away. So you've got to really kind of know what materials you have going on before you get started on a project like this.
Okay, but on the same note, it's not necessarily impossible to do this to a 1920s house, and we're going to talk again a little bit about the minor changes. And one of the big ones, it makes a huge difference. It has to do with the doorway right here. This door would swing in this way, and it would take up half the bathroom if it were left that way. What's the alternative?
Pocket doors are a wonderful alternative. A lot of people think actually that pocket doors are, you know, from the 70s, and they don't work well, and you pull them back and forth, and they come off their hinges. The new pocket doors have ball bearings and actually mechanisms that slide wonderfully. We have a beautiful pocket door that's going to be going in, which is going to accent the style of this 1921 house, which we're trying to keep for her. It puts it into the wall, and it allows you to have your whole space for your bathroom. So it's a really big space keeper. The other thing that's wonderful is if you have a walker or you have a wheelchair that has to come through, you don't have to worry about hinges, and you don't have to worry about the door being somewhere that you might knock it when you come through. So it gives you a lot of space.
And it just offers just that extra bit of room for everybody. All right, well, thanks so much, Victoria, and we'll talk about a few other minor changes in our next half hour. Paula?
Sounds good. Thank you. Go ahead and get the tool belt ready. 3 whole days to tackle those projects that have been staring at you since the start of summer. KY3's Abby Wellner has a look at home improvement issues facing many right now and the little construction tweaks you can handle all on your own.
Hey Paula, we're back in our 1920s renovation project right now, making it a little more accessible for someone who needs just a little more space, a few more amenities. And we're with Victoria Wells of Wells Works Construction. Hello again. And we're talking now about just the things that anyone can do around their house to make it a little bit easier for someone who is older, someone who has some special needs to get around a little bit. One thing we always see in hotel rooms are the grab bars.
Absolutely. One of the things we'd like to put out there to everyone on a grab bar is you can install a grab bar on your own, but there are some things you need to know and think about. When we do a remodel like this, we actually frame up behind it and give a full support behind it, so we actually are screwing into something behind there. A lot of times people will just take a grab bar, go pick it out of the box and screw it right in. If you are going to screw it into an existing area, you need to make sure that you get anchors that go along with it, and you also want to read on your grab bar box what the weight capacity is. And the way that that's actually measured is the pushing down mechanism, not necessarily the pulling out mechanism. When you push down, you're putting your whole weight onto it. So if you're inside, you need to actually be supporting that weight. And they make them all the way up to 500 pounds.
Yeah, and I guess it does absolutely no good if it doesn't support someone who's falling.
All right. Absolutely.
And then on to the next note. The other thing, we see a lot of these now, and I see them labeled comfort height toilets, but there's actually a real purpose behind this, that the reason they were designed. And this is one of them here.
Absolutely. The way these toilet seats are designed is they are ADA certified, and the reason that they are is when you actually go to sit down on the toilet, it's the actual considered a chair height. So you can transfer yourself from a wheelchair right onto the toilet. That's the the idea of them. So now they've made them into residential models, and you can actually see that the height is going to take you right at around 20 inches where your toilet seat itself is going to actually fall.
Okay.
One of the other great features on these is the toilet lid.
Oh, and it goes down by itself. It's magical.
So if you have the husband who doesn't put the toilet seat down, or you have the 2-year-old or something else, great fun features to make sure that it actually gets closed on
And
its
on
own.
the subject of a 2-year-old, no finger slamming or anything like that.
Yes.
Okay. And then on to the other thing, and this may seem very small, but it's also really useful, especially for an arthritic individual.
Absolutely. One of the things to think about that you can spruce up an area right off the bat is you might have the old ones that, you know, have a little round and they look kind of plasticky and you got to turn them and they're hard to turn.
The full grip.
And you actually have to use your whole hand. What's great about these is you can actually use them just with a finger once they're actually installed. So it doesn't require a whole hand to actually turn them. It makes it much easier. And also the higher spout as well. The other ones that are so low, if you go to actually do anything, if it's hard to bend over, it's hard to wash your face or something along those lines, this really helps for that person who's a little handicap challenged.
All right, so that makes a lot of sense. And again, these are just some pretty little things that can be done around the house. And we talked about the pocket doors earlier that don't have to cost a lot of money, just make life a lot better for anybody.
Actually, pocket doors like that, $65 at Lowe's.
No kidding.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Your biggest expense is actually going to be the installation of it. So remember those, along with their frames and the doors, great pricing that you can actually get on them. So
all right, and you can always comparison shop at all kinds of different places
Yes.
when it comes to buying the little things that, like a toilet and a
Yes.
faucet. All right, thanks so much,
No
Victoria
problem.
and Paula. We'll go ahead and send it back to you.
Thank you, Abby.